A soft chuckle escapes me at his words, though I hide it behind my cup. He's right, of course. Something tells me this year will be anything but ordinary. A show, huh? Perhaps. My lips curl into a mischievous smile, and I feel a glimmer of playful daring spark inside. Perhaps I can do a little show. My fingers lightly pat Severus's sleeve, a gesture of thanks for his compliment. I feel him tense beneath my touch, a subtle stiffening of shoulders and posture, but his expression doesn't flicker. I glance toward Dumbledore, whose eyes gleam with quiet amusement, and he gives me a small, approving nod. That encouragement is all I need. My smile widens, and slowly I rise, and slipping my wand into my hand, a soft flick of my wrist, and music unfurls into the great hall. A hum of intrigue ripples through the students as they turn to watch. A song stirs in my chest, a rhythm that builds with every heartbeat. The tones shift, low and commanding, transforming into dramatic tempo. Its energy thrums through my veins, and it feels grounding and exhilarating all at once. I shrug off my outer robes and let them fall effortlessly over my chair. Above us, the enchanted ceiling begins to shift. The soft blues of the sky darken, and clouds swirl into existence, heavy and rolling. Lightning flickers faintly above us and is painting the ceiling with silver light as the music climbs higher.
What are you planning now? That glint in your eyes. It rarely means good. And then she slips off her robes. Gods, that dress beneath. Elegant is understated. It is clinging to you like it was meant to be there. The way the skirt twirls with every movement, how it moves like a living thing around your legs. I fight the urge to swallow and look away. You move like a serpent, smooth and hypnotic. Every motion of your wand is masked as a part of an elegant dance. Your steps are graceful and the sway is fluid as you weave the magic into the very air.
The music swells and I strike my wand. A bolt of lightning splits the illusionary sky, crackling and bright, as the thunder rumbles deep and low. The storm responds to my every move and is swirling faster, darker and wilder.
The sky is roaring with energy as thunder rolls and lightning arcs in patterns that match the rhythm of the music. At the softer moment of the song, you pivot on one foot, turning elegantly, and your wand traces a graceful spiral. The clouds whirl faster, taking on the terrifying beauty of a hurricane's eye. Dark tendrils of cloud twist and curl as lightning flashes in dizzying arcs. You move like the storm you command, deliberate and fluid. It is a symphony of chaos and control. Lightning lashes in time with the rising music, and the thunder is rolling with each sweeping motion of your hand. Yet beneath the chaos is precision. The movements are as precise as a master duelist's and as fluid as a dancer's.
As the final notes approach, the swirling wind slow and the crackle of lightning softens. Clouds begin to thin and revealing hints of soft blue. The storm dies away with the descending tones of the music, replaced by a serene morning sky overhead. I raise my wand high, like a sword lifted in silent victory. The hall holds its breath. The last notes strike, sharp and clear, and I slash my wand skyward. A ripple spreads across the ceiling, and tiny rainbows shimmer and scatter like shards of light, dancing through the hall as the final echo of the music fades. For a heartbeat, the great hall is utterly silent.
What in Merlin's name have I just witnessed? The illusion above us is flawless. The storm feels alive and real enough that I can almost taste the rain that never falls. The crackle of lightning illuminates your silhouette as you turn around in the dark moment. You have complete control, not just of your magic and the storm, but of the entire room. Every pair of eyes in this hall is fixed on you, entranced, mine included. You have bent illusion, sound, and light to your will, not with brute force, but with finesse. You stand there with your wand raised, and you radiate confident with a glint of mischief in your eyes. You moved like you knew you were being watched, and yet not for applause. No, this was for yourself. I catch myself breathing too slowly, and my hands curl against the arms of my chair. The silence after lingers for a moment longer than feels natural, and the rainbow ripples above, bathing the great hall in ethereal light.
This is utterly inappropriate. Such spectacle in front of the children. What message are you trying to send, Professor? This is not a theatre.
I turn my head slowly until my gaze locks with hers. My lips curve into a small smile. Her cheeks are blotched crimson, and the pink cardigan is straining against her shoulders as she sputters and waves her stubby hands in protest. The students closest to her exchange glances, some of fighting smiles, while others ducking their heads to avoid her glare. Message? That beauty and music can exist even in the heart of a storm, Madam Umbridge. Nothing more. Her lips part, ready to argue. Do forgive me if I've overstepped. I sweep my wand in a languid motion, and the last traces of the rainbow ripples dissolve, returning the great hall to its usual, serene, enchanted sky. The only evidence of the storm is the hush that lingers.
She bows her head like a queen accepting a tribute. Even the applause doesn't touch your composure. You stand like you hadn't only orchestrated the storm, but this very reaction. And Umbridge, Merlin, she looks ready to combust. The colour on her face could rival a Weasley's hair. She loathes losing control. And here, tonight, she has lost it again. The other professors twitch and their eyes are glinting with amusement. Minerva leans back in her chair with a look of unmistakable approval. Dumbledore is smiling openly and his beard is twitching with contained laughter, his blue eyes twinkling as if you just performed for him alone.
I've always wanted to do that, ever since the first day I arrived. The students titter at my words, and my colleagues exchange glances. Umbridge is still sputtering like a tea kettle. I slip back into my outer robes and fastening the clasp with deliberate calm. Now, if you'll excuse me, I should prepare tomorrow's lessons. My eyes sweep over the staff table, pausing momentarily on Severus, then Minerva, then Dumbledore. Finally, I dip my chin ever so slightly to Umbridge. Madam?
Your every movement is slow, calm, and a stark contrast to Umbridge's fuming, and that only makes her outrage more pathetic in comparison. I watch you leave with that effortless stride, and the whispers are trailing behind you like a perfume. Behind me, Umbridge sputters incoherently, trying and failing to restore order. Her shrill protests are drowned out by the low hum of whispers and soft laughter that is spreading through the hall.
I can't help the smile as I push open the heavy doors and step into the cool corridor beyond. I usually do not like to bask in attention, but this was worth it. The quiet evening in my office is broken only by the faint sound of my hand that is gliding over my notebook and the soft bubbling of a cauldron in the corner. I finished the last line of calculations and committing the solution to memory before pushing the notebook aside. The corridor is hushed as I make my way back to my chambers. The castle has already sunk into sleep. I peel off my robe and sink onto the bed. The exhaustion is tugging me under almost immediately. But before I can pull the covers fully over me, a folded slip of parchment catches my eye upon the nightstand. The unbroken pink wax seals it shut. An official note. All staff are required to attend a meeting before breakfast tomorrow morning. Signed by Umbridge. I let the parchment fall closed in my hand, frowning at the ceiling in the dim light. Whatever she wants, it cannot bode well if she wants a meeting that early. Still, sleep drags at me, and I finally surrender to it. But the letter is waiting like a shadow at my bedside. I step into the staff meeting room, early for once. Severus isn't here yet, which means I'm spared the dark look he always throws at me if I arrive even a heartbeat too late. And neither is that pink toad, thank Merlin. I greet Flitwick and Madam Hooch, who are the only ones present and already seated. Would either of you like something? I am moving to prepare some tea, but they decline politely, and I pour a steaming cup just for myself. The warmth seeps into my palms as I cling to it, trying to thaw my fingers. My hands are always colder than I'd like, nerves perhaps, though I pretend it's just the draft in these old castle walls. I set my notebook neatly in front of me, lean back into my chair, and take a sip.
I hadn't expected her to arrive before me. She's never early. And yet you sit there, calm, collected, and untouchable. How? After that ridiculous display in the great hall yesterday, the music, the insolence, and Umbridge's fury, how can she sit there now with a teacup in hand, like none of it happened? Against my will, I find myself studying your every movement. You look relaxed. Do you not feel the weight of it? Or do you simply refuse to show it? I choose a seat across from you. I tell myself it is so I can watch, to evaluate you. But the truth lingers in my head. I am intrigued for what you're about to do next, far more than I should be. The door creaks open, and the false sweetness of the pink vulture floods the room as she strides in, with a poisonous smile plastered across her face. The air tightens, the warmth vanishes, and the meeting has truly begun.
Very well. Everyone is already present.
I notice how Dumbledore is giving her one of his pointedly disinterested looks, the kind that borders on polite boredom. The rest of the staff seem to wear variations of the same expression. It's strangely comforting, that silent solidarity. Her gaze crawls slowly down the length of my clothes, dissecting me with the same disdain she never bothers to hide. It has become a familiar ritual. I lift my chin the faintest bit higher, just to spite her. I reach for my notebook, open it, and hover my pen above the blank page. The movement earns me another look, sharper this time. I almost smirk. Of course she despises the pen. Wizards cling to their quills like lifelines. But I've always thought some Muggle inventions were brilliant in their simplicity. And Merlin knows I'll take ink that doesn't blot and smear any day.
The moment Umbridge begins, her eyes slither toward you. Dolores cannot help herself. Her obsession with tearing you down borders on laughable. I watch as you meet that disdain with quiet defiance, head tilting and chin lifting, not enough to draw a rebuke, but just enough to provoke. Then the pen appears, a pen. Not a quill, not parchment's dutiful companion, but a Muggle-born implement. The audacity of it should make me scoff, if I weren't already half accustomed to your peculiarities. Predictably, Umbridge reacts with visible disgust. And still you write, unflinching and unbothered by the reactions. Infuriating woman. Do you ever stop testing boundaries? And why does it make me want to watch closer rather than look away?
Now, before we begin our usual matters, there is the unfortunate business of yesterday's incident in the Great Hall. As you are all aware, such performances are wholly inappropriate in a place of learning. They undermine order, encourage frivolity, and are in direct opposition to the discipline this school so desperately requires. Therefore, let it be perfectly clear. From this moment forward, music of any kind will not be tolerated in the Great Hall. Not sung, not played, not conjured. The Great Hall is for meals, for announcements, and for the solemn dignity befitting this institution. Nothing more.
Her words strike me like a slap, even though I already saw it coming. Sitting through another one of her ridiculous meetings and endure her simpering tone feels like punishment enough. And somehow, she always manages to make things worse. I grip my pen tighter, but I don't look at her. Instead, I glance down at the page, at the smooth curve of ink waiting to be written, and force myself to breathe. No music, no laughter, no joy. Just rules, silence, and her shrill little smile. I finally lift my eyes, not at her, but at Severus. He looks even more displeased than before, though for once it doesn't seem directed at me. He may not show it, but he knows what it feels like to watch her strip the soul out of this place.
To ban music? It is laughable, if it weren't so predictably cruel. Music is not what she fears. She fears spirit. She fears resistance. She fears anyone who is daring to remind these children that there is more to life than rules carved in pink ink. To outlaw music, of all things, what will it be next? Conversation? Breathing? Her words scrape against me, not because I care for the noise of song or performance, but because I know what she intends. Control. She means to choke the life from this castle, piece by piece, until nothing remains but silence and obedience. Dumbledore finally speaks and breaks the taut silence with that infuriating calm of his.
Ah, what a dreary prospect, a hall without song. I do believe even the castle itself may sulk if deprived of its music. Surely, Dolores, joy and discipline need not be enemies. Music has long been part of this school's traditions. I should hate to see us lose such things.
Trust Dumbledore to lace defiance with politeness so sharp that it cuts. His words hang in the air like a quiet challenge cloaked in whimsy.
Indeed, I can hardly imagine the sorting feast without its song, or the holidays without carols. To strip such traditions away would be highly unwise.
McGonagall's voice is steady as steel. No honeyed diplomacy, just truth laid bare, and I almost want to cheer, though I keep my head bent over my notebook, letting my pen hover as if I'm diligently recording the discussion. But inside, I feel it. Flickers of resistance. They're not just mine. The others feel it too.
Dumbledore sits with his smiling daggers, and Minerva with her uncompromising reason. I am less interested in their words. I am watching you. The way your lips tighten when you hide a smile. The way the pen trembles ever so slightly and is betraying the tension that you swallow down. Umbridge thinks she has silenced you, but I know better. Umbridge's smile stiffens at Dumbledore's light jab, and her cheeks twitch at Minerva's cutting precision.
Headmaster, Professor McGonagall, while I appreciate your fondness for frivolities, we must remember our purpose here. Hogwarts is not a tavern nor a theatre. It is an academic institution. Traditions are only worth preserving if they serve discipline and order. Songs, performances, and displays do nothing but distract. From this moment forward, such disruptions will not be tolerated, and I shall expect full cooperation from the staff in ensuring compliance.
Her gaze sweeps across the staff and is landing, inevitably, on me. My pen hovers, and I move my hand across the page as though I am dutifully recording her decree. But the words I write aren't hers. My mind has already slipped elsewhere, away from her shrill voice and her endless suffocation. The parchment before me fills, not with rules, but with fragments of a new experiment. Ingredients half-scribbled, ratios to test, stirring techniques I've been puzzling over for days. What if I altered the order of infusion? What if the powdered root went in second, not last? The nib of my pen scratches faster. Anyone looking would think I'm writing notes on her ridiculous bands. I almost laugh at the thought. If only she knew that I am already miles beyond her reach.
Her simpering reply washes over me. My attention does not remain on her. I notice the subtle shift across the table. The way that pen moves more quickly now, the strokes are sharp and certain. You're not writing what Dolores demands. Of that I am certain. You would not waste ink on such drivel. And I wonder, what secrets are finding their way onto that page? What consumes your thoughts so thoroughly that you can sit beneath Umbridge's gaze and yet look almost content?
I let my pen glide across the page, and, keeping my head angled so I look like an obedient, diligent note-taker, let her believe it. Let them all believe it. Powdered valerian root. Double measure? No, too sedative. Half. Half is enough to soften the base without dulling the reaction. If stirred clockwise, infusion thickens too soon. Must alternate. 2 turns clockwise, 1 counterclockwise. Keep rhythm steady. Pulse, not drag. I breathe out slowly, feigning a sigh of concentration as Umbridge drones on about discipline and decorum. My page fills with fragments of the problem I've been turning over in my head all week. Unicorn hair. Too volatile and less stabilized. Add crushed moonstone first. Dust fine, or risk separation. Slow release if dissolved in warmed infusion, not boiling. My mind sparks with possibilities, and connections are weaving tighter. For a moment, I forget where I am, and forget the pink toad's voice that is rasping in the background. Could the binding be stronger if finished under a cold infusion? Ice bath. But then there is risk of crystallization. Test with a smaller sample first. Always smaller sample first. I scribble another note down. I glance up briefly, nodding as though dutifully absorbing Umbridge's every poisoned word. Then I lower my eyes again, hiding a faint, secret smile as the nib of my pen scratches onward.
I knew it. You are not writing Dolores's nonsense. I can tell by the pace, the rhythm, and the certainty of each line. Notes on potion work. What else could it be? Even across the table, I can almost see the patterns, ratios, instructions, corrections. It is the look of someone who is refining, reworking, and chasing the perfection of a solution. I know it well. Here you sit, under the toad's watchful eye, while every other member of staff suffers through this charade. Yet your mind is elsewhere, beyond reach.
My pen scratches faster. Vase infusion. Valerian root, half measure, plus powdered moonstone. Stirring sequence. 2 clockwise, 1 counter. Must maintain rhythm, otherwise sediment collects at bottom and the reaction weakens. My mind spirals back to the trials last week, the way the liquid had shifted colour midway through. But why did the infusion burn silver at the edges when unicorn hair was added? Silver first, then smoke. Inconsistent. Shouldn't be possible with that order. Unless... My pulse quickens. Unless the obsidian alters the binding strength, draws too much magic from the unicorn hair before it stabilizes. My pen hovers mid-air as the realization unfurls. Could it be? Have I been approaching the sequence backwards all along? Before I can second-guess myself, my head jerks up, and I find my eyes locking across the table, straight into Severus's. The words tumble out of me, low but sharp before I can stop them. Obsidian. It draws the magic from unicorn hair before the infusion settles. Is that why the binding destabilizes?
For a heartbeat I stare. She dares to ask this, here, now, in the middle of a staff meeting, with Dolores still babbling at the head of the table. Reckless woman. But your eyes burn with such raw need for an answer, even though I can already see that you know. You're obsessed, seeking only the confirmation. I cannot help myself. My reply slips free before I can cage it. Yes, obsidian leaches before stabilizing. Unless dissolved entirely, it will weaken the binding. You must alter the order.
The confirmation fuels my enthusiasm. Yes, that explains the silver burn. I am already bending over my notebook again, scribbling furiously. Moonstone first. Dissolve fully in warmed infusion. Add obsidian only after. Reaction stabilized. Test with sample under cold infusion to counter crystallization. Adjust stirring rhythm accordingly. The thrill of getting close to the solution is burning away the room and the meeting. Dolores gives me a disdain look, yet is still droning something about discipline. None of it matters. My hand flies and my mind races. I can't stay seated, and my chair scrapes back suddenly. The sound is earning startled looks from Flitwick and Hooch, but I don't care.
Of course. You leap to your feet as though you're struck by lightning, and scribbling with a kind of wild determination that makes the rest of the room vanish entirely. And damn me if I don't understand that feeling all too well. The toad is speaking still, but no one is listening to her anymore. Umbridge's syrupy voice falters mid-sentence, and her eyes are snapping to you with the sharpness of a vulture that is catching sight of prey.
Excuse me, but perhaps you might share with us what is so very important that it cannot wait until after this meeting.
Her gaze is narrow and glinting with suspicion. I freeze for only a moment, with the pen still in my hand, before I snap the notebook shut. I lift my chin. Potion work, nothing for you to be concerned of, Madam Umbridge. The insult is deliberate, and judging by the way her smile tightens, she knows it.
Foolish and reckless. And yet I cannot deny the satisfaction that is curling in my chest as you say it. The disdain is painted so perfectly across your tone that Dolores cannot mistake the barb. Predictable. Umbridge bristles, but she doesn't let it show.
My, such important work you must be doing. And yet, surely, if your notes are safe enough for you to keep at hand during a meeting, they are safe enough for me to see. Show me.
Her hand twitches as though she might actually reach across the table and grab my notebook. My fingers grip tighter, though I keep my face still. Of course she would demand to see them. These notes are not meant for inexperienced eyes, Madam Umbridge. Potion instructions, particularly these, are far too dangerous in the hands of someone untrained. Her eyes narrow further. Then her gaze slides, not at me, but downward to the book itself. Her eyes fix on the binding. The light blue leather hide is catching the torchlight with a pearlescent shimmer. The scales are subtle, but unmistakable if you know what you're looking for. Ice dragon leather, rare and priceless. And even if I give her the book, she can't read it. The ice dragon hide protects the words inside it.
Curious, very curious. Why would you record such dangerous instructions at all?
My reasons are my own, and they will remain that way. I flick the book open, and my pen is scratching with deliberate calm again. My mind, however, has already leapt elsewhere, far away from her, back to the reaction of wormwood under cold infusion, the exact viscosity, and the way the mixture shifted, as though it was resisting the stir. I look up suddenly. The thought is sharper than my restraint. Severus, the silverthorn reaction under lunar extract. Have you ever noticed it starts resisting when stirred? His eyes cut to me, and he gives the faintest, precise nod.
Yes, it does resist under cold infusion. Your audacity astonishes even me, and I can't help but smirk faintly. To defy Umbridge so openly, it is either staggering courage or sheer foolishness. But the notebook, even from here I recognize what it is. Ice dragon leather. Should Umbridge's greedy little hands ever dare to pry it open, she would not read a word. She would leave the attempt with blistered skin and frostbitten pride.
Relief and exhilaration surge at once. Thank you. I am not even looking at Umbridge anymore. She has become background noise, irrelevant against the sheer clarity of the idea that is settling into form. I turn, slowly walking away from the table, and my pen is still moving. Her shrill voice is chasing me, but never quite reaching. The potion consumes my focus, as it always does. More vital, more important than any of her tiresome decrees about discipline or decorum.
I insist. You will present that notebook to me at once. As High Inquisitor, I am entitled...
Her shout is cutting through my thoughts. Yet, I don't even bother lifting my eyes and keep walking away while I write. Nope, you are not entitled. Not to this.
Stop at once! You will obey. You cannot simply walk away.
It seems, Dolores, that her mind is otherwise occupied. A pity that your decrees are no match for intellectual curiosity.
The table ripples with suppressed reactions, shock, and a hint of admiration glimmer in their eyes. I rise without a word, following your retreating figure. Your defiance lingers in the air like the aftershock of a storm, rattling Umbridge and silencing the table. But you don't care. You're just walking away with that pen still scratching, utterly consumed by your work. And though the rest stare in disbelief and has no idea what you're writing, I understand the thrill, and I find myself drawn to it.
The corridor sounds are quieter, as though the walls themselves grant me space to think. My pen scratches against the page even as I walk. If Silverthorn resists lunar extract, then perhaps it requires heat first. Yes, controlled heat, not flame. If I balance it with powdered frostleaf, the reaction should stabilize. I underline the word twice.
You are reckless.
His voice cuts from behind me, and his footsteps are closing the distance.
Openly defying Umbridge in front of the staff. Do you have any notion of the danger you put yourself in?
I stop mid-step, and my pen is hovering above the notebook. My mind resists being dragged back to her, to that pink, simpering face and syruped malice. I sigh and look at him. She is irrelevant. This, I lift the book, tapping the ink-stained page with the pen, is what matters.
My eyes flick to the page, scanning the shorthand, cramped notations. Equal parts irritation and reluctant approval are growing. Irrelevant, perhaps, but she is not harmless. You would do well to remember that.
A smile tugs at the corner of my mouth despite his tone. And yet, you answered my question, without hesitation. I meet his eyes, daring him to deny it. His gaze hardens, but there's no denial. Only the faintest glimmer of understanding.
Because you were correct. The mixture will hold if treated with care. Few would have noticed the resistance at all.
The thrill of it courses through me again, bright and electric. I jot another line down before the thought can slip away, and I'll test it tonight. He steps closer. His presence is consuming, yet I feel oddly reassured by it. He is not the kind of man that would try to impress me or flirt, which is quite unfamiliar.
That defiance is going to kill you one day.
I look at him properly. Maybe, but I rather die trying and improve quality of living over obedience and cowering. My gaze drops back to the page, already moving again with my mind spinning towards the experiment ahead.